My name is Scott Johnson. I'm with Resorts International, Campgrounds for Sale USA. I've been involved in commercial risk management and insurance for over 20 years. My wife and I are also in the hospitality business and have a couple other companies that we have going with our alpaca ranch. I've always worked with business owners in the risk management field. I've also had a good background in real estate. My uncle, Harold Goring, was selling campgrounds and resorts since the early 70s. He'd always be using the latest technology to incorporate it into ways that he could provide additional value to his customers. The actual filming of campgrounds and using that to help sell. As times have changed, they've continued to change as well, and this video that we're shooting now is one of the examples that we've been using in selling campground. Bring the actual campground to the buyer, so use the actual sellers of the campgrounds to present that information. One of the other things that is a huge asset, expertise in the industry. One main common denominator that does exist is the bottom line. You have a specific bank is that this individual actually has owned a couple different parks. Because of that, has a very in-depth understanding of how a park operates.
My name is Brian Hoddenfield and I finance campgrounds and resorts. Standing here next to a big gun and that's what we consider ourselves in the finance world. What I specialize in is campground and RV resort financing. A little bit about myself is I own 2 campgrounds as well. I'm involved in a franchise park, which would be a destination resort, and I'm also involved in a smaller resort campground that is alongside of a river. That business is very seasonal. Owning some campgrounds gives me that inside knowledge of how the campgrounds work, some of the things that campground owners go through, both on the buyer side and on the seller side. And my experience in owning in the industry gives me an extra advantage in financing these resorts and campgrounds as well. That is a value that I believe that I can bring to the customers. A few things that are important for sellers to know as they're getting ready to sell their campgrounds, they need to understand that the industry is really built on cash flow. So from an income approach, us as banks are looking at how does that business cash flow, and so it's critical, it's very important to make sure that campground owners that are preparing to sell are showing all their income. It's critical that they're showing expenses accurately and defining those expense areas in their business. Internal profit and loss statements are very important. Cash flow, if your business is not cash flowing, that certainly demonstrates a weakness, both the person purchasing or the buyers and also for the lending institution. Really, your cash flow statement is important. Another thing that is something that we look at is, as we look at the last few years of your business, has the right things been done to take care of that campground? We look at repair and maintenance. We look at capital improvements over the last 4, 5, 6 years. And has that park been taken care of for that next owner? Have those things been ignored? Have they been let go? And is that something that we're going to have to, as we step into it with a new owner, are we going to have to look at financing improvements right off the bat? That should have been taken care of as a day-to-day business. Those are some of the things that we look at. We look at how well the business has been marketed. Is there opportunity? Have they done a good job with selling the business and getting it ready for that next ownership? So the important things, good financials, making sure that they're accurate, making sure that seller has taken care of that park, has been maintained, and that park is getting the attention that it needs. And we certainly understand that, like many businesses, that you're continuing to upgrade your business and you're putting improvements in, and realize that there are times that adjustments need to be made to an expense report on an income and loss statement. We understand there's adjustments that we can make. When you put those improvements into your business to increase and improve that business, it takes dollars. And so from a pure profit standpoint, yes, that's important, but also we realize that there's building years in a park as well. And when you build those improvements into your park, it's going to directly affect your bottom line. Certainly a good idea is those years prior and getting ready to sell is to make sure you document and put those improvements down. Have them ready so when that buyer comes, you can list out the last 3 or 4 years of improvements to that park. And it's important for a lender to see that as well. It shows that the park has been increasing in its structure, it's been improving in its structure, it's been improving in its amenities. It will be numbers that lender can push back into the cash flow to show that as the new buyer goes forward, that the business does cash flow. And so that's important to make sure that capital improvements and repair and maintenance, for that sake, are well documented those last 3 to 4 years before you sell. These are sold off of an income approach, and what we mean by that is that they're sold off of a cap rate. And how you come about with that number is, first of all, on the income sheet, we show our net operating income and we add back depreciation, we add back interest, and we add back depreciation and interest and any amortization. And that gives us a number, and we call that number EBITDA. And what EBITDA really means is earnings before interest, depreciation, and amortization. And that number then is divided into what we call a cap rate. And what we look at is throughout the industry each year, that cap rate is given to us. We have appraisers who give us summaries on what cap rates campgrounds are being sold at. So for instance, a 10 cap is a very common cap rate in this industry. You would take your EBITDA number, again, the net operating income, adding back depreciation, adding back interest and amortization, and we divide that by a 10 cap or a 9 cap or 11 cap. Sometimes those cap rates will vary, but the average cap rate that we're seeing out there is that 10 cap rate. If your EBITDA is $120,000 on a 10 cap rate, your campground would be worth about $1.2 million. Things that can influence that is opportunities, that there's some very evident opportunities. Campground that is built out and there's no opportunity, that can affect that EBITDA a little bit. Most people will not purchase a campground on potential. They're going to purchase a campground on existing income that is being derived from that campground, not by potential. A lot of times we'll hear people say, well, you can do this, this, and this to improve your campground, and therefore you should pay me more. That is not an acceptable marketing strategy. Really, you're going to be looking at existing income and expenses, and you're going to be looking at the last 1 to 2 years primarily when you're looking at the value of a campground.
In that we are able to distribute your park to the buyers very quickly, get a very detailed overview of the park. They can see a lot of information without actually having to physically be there. We're Resorts International, Campgrounds for Sale USA. My name is Scott Johnson. This was intended to be an introductory video for you. If you are interested in learning more what we have to offer, feel free to give me a call back or respond to the email that you received, and would be more than happy to talk to you about the possibility.
I dealt with Resorts International and Harold on the last 3 parks. We've had a wonderful relationship, more like friends than business associates.
So, I guess to finish this up, it goes something like this. I've gone from broker to broker. I've gone from state to state. But Harold, you guys have done an incredible job. Unorthodox, I admit, a little different than I probably would have expected. But my gosh, when the day was done, your crew and your people, Harold, did an incredible job making this come together. And for that, I'm eternally grateful. Thanks for all your help, Harold.